loan officer sales training with the mortgage calculator. Thank you for tuning in nice and early. We'll wait just a couple minutes here to get started, but today we're going to be talking about how we can turn everyone into a lead. So give us just a moment here to go live on all the different platforms, but I do appreciate those tuning in early, dropping those comments. Feel free to keep dropping comments throughout the presentation here, and also you can drop any questions that you have in the chat as well as we go through here. Hope everybody has been having a great week so far. And it looks like we are live on all the different platforms, so we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Hershey. I'm the COO of the Mortgage Calculator, and this is our loan officer sales training that we do 12 p.m. Eastern time every weekday, where we go through more of the front end of the mortgage business, leads and talking to clients and all that kind of good stuff. So today's topic is a great one, which is turning everyone into a lead. So we're going to talk about kind of the concept of this, how it works, and then we'll talk about how we can actually, go start doing that ourselves, right? So first thing here that I want to talk about is just some info and data here, right? So remember, every adult in the country is either a renter or a homeowner, right? So that's what's one of the great things about this business. So, when Nick and I got into the real estate business, especially the mortgage business, we were like, wow, this is amazing because everyone is a client, right? We had never been in a business before in all of our other ventures where everyone in the country was a potential client. So we're very blessed in this industry to have that be the case. Now, the reason why I say everyone is a client, a lot of people are stuck on the, they have to be a homeowner or be ready to be a homeowner. Well, who becomes homeowners? Renters, right? Renters turn into homeowners eventually, and especially with our help, right? That's what we're doing as loan officer consultants. That's also what separates us at the Mortgage Calculator from others, where we're not going to throw away borrowers. We're not going to use a funnel where we throw people away and funnel down just who's ready, willing, and able. We're going to work with every client, even if they're not able, right? They might, a lot of people that are renters are willing, but they may not be ready and able, but that's okay. We're going to work with them. We're going to coach them through the process. So when you look at it from that perspective, everyone in the country, as far as adults goes, really is a potential client. They're either a renter that we can help turn into a homeowner eventually, or they're already a homeowner who may be buying another home or refinancing. So that brings me to the next statistics here. The average homeowner buys a new home every 7 years, right? So one client that you build a strong relationship with not only tends to buy another home every 7 years, but on average, they refinance every 3 years. So you see how important it is to really build up a returning, client base here, and understand that for every person that you put in the work to turn from a renter into a homeowner, you're now on average going to be getting multiple deals in the next 7 years from that same person. And guess what? When you're the loan officer consultant who helped them through the process of buying their first home, and you were crucial to that process, they're never going to work with another loan officer. That's just completely out of the question, right? And that's why it's so great to be able to turn people who are not even clients yet into clients, and then be able to continue to work with those clients. And you know what those people are going to do? Those people that you helped going from a renter to a homeowner, they're going to tell everybody they know that, wow, I had this great loan officer. They told me exactly what I had to do to get qualified. They helped me out. Maybe you even introduced them to a realtor that you're working with, which is the case a lot, right? Because they tend to not have a realtor. So this training isn't about just working with people who are renters and turning them into homeowners, but it's just a great example here of the fact that everyone that you ever speak to is a possible client in numerous different ways. Now, the next thing here is when we're talking to everybody as a lead, remember, even if they're a non-customer, they can still refer us customers. So that's why everyone is a lead as well, right? They can refer us people that, they hear are looking for homes or want to buy one or want to get pre-qualified, or somebody saying they've always wanted to buy a home, they just don't know how. Somebody looking to refinance their home, whatever the case may be. Even if they're not our customer, they're still a lead to us because they can lead to other customers, right? So that's another reason why everyone we ever speak to is a lead potentially. Now, also, of course, the customers can refer other customers. So that goes back to our referral training of making sure that you're asking for referrals, especially at the right times, and doing all that kind of good stuff. Because what happens here is if you can get your customers and your non-customers or to refer you customers, what you've done here is you've taken advantage of their sphere, right? Every person that you can properly convey the appreciation you would have for sending you business, using the power of reciprocation to ask them specifically if they know anyone. And what happens is when you really get them thinking that and saying, wow, Kyle at the Mortgage Calculator was so great. I just want to send him business whenever I can. He said that would really help him, and that's what he would love more than anything. And, now you're tapping into their sphere. And again, the important part here is a lot of people only think about this part, that their customers can refer customers. But when we're looking at everyone that we ever speak to as a lead, not only could some of these be homeowners in the future or possible leads in the future, but these non-customers can also refer us customers. We've talked about this on many trainings here at the Mortgage Calculator with many examples of loan officers being sent referrals from people that they never did a loan for. Somebody they may have spoken to, they may have conveyed that they're an expert, conveyed the great programs that we have, put them on an action plan and stayed top of mind. So when they had somebody that they had spoken to that was looking for something, they say, yeah, this loan officer is always contacting me. They seem to know what they're doing. I'll give you their information. So that's happening all the time, every week. That's happening here just at our company. So remember, non-customers absolutely can and will refer customers, which is why they are leads as well, even if they never work with you. So now let's talk about actually doing this in practice, right? So these leads that we're talking about, all these people where everyone is a lead and we need to turn them all into a lead, they're already in your sphere. You already have thousands of them in your phone, right? We all have thousands of contacts in our phone, at least hundreds, and every single one of them is a lead. Now, when you look at it from what we were just talking about earlier, not only are they a potential lead, but they can lead to other leads, right? So they really are important as a lead. Even if you think that your cousin Joe is never going to buy a home, there's no way, they're just so far from it. Of course, you would like to reach out to them to give them, that goal, right? But you can also reach out to them to make sure that they can refer you deals as well. Now, here's a great bullet point that a lot of people don't think of. People in places that you support, you need to turn into a lead. Now, what do I mean by that? Any person that you're sending them, business in some type of way, you should be asking for support back. Any places that you frequent, businesses that you support, especially small businesses, you're supporting these businesses with your business. You should ask for support in return. And, I always come to this dry cleaner. I give you a lot of business. Would you mind if you, helped out my business as well? And told people, let me put my business cards on the counter or whatever the situation may be. But a lot of people don't think about that. The places that you support, you should ask them to support you as well. Same thing with the people. A lot of times that's the same thing, right? As a person running a small business or a small shop or a sole proprietorship, or, maybe they're just a hair person that comes to you or whatever it is. But think about things like that. Your hairdresser or your barber, these people talk to tons of people. It's funny because I'm not even, well, I am a loan officer. I'm licensed as a loan officer, but I don't even do loans. And my barber not only is in the process of applying for a loan because he never knew until he spoke to me in depth about it that you could do a bank statement loan. And of course, he's a barber, so he would need a bank statement loan because he's just got a bunch of Zelle payments coming in from clients and stuff. So if I had never spoken to him about that and never treated him as a lead, everyone as a lead, I wouldn't have had that happen. And guess what? He also has already talked to multiple people who are in the same situation that do not have W-2 income, that never had any idea they could possibly qualify to buy a house. And now they're talking to us, our loan officers, about doing so. So that one person, my barber, who I happen to be talking to and making sure that he knows what we do, he not only knew what I do, he already knew I did real estate, but he didn't know to the extent of the programs that we have. I hadn't asked him yet to, tell all of his clients and people that he knows because I support him as a business person, and asking him to support me in return as a business person, is just natural, that reciprocation, right? So don't forget, people that you give business to, places that you give business to, these should all be things where there's already a sense of reciprocation set up there, but we need to take advantage of it. We talked about this in the last few trainings too. You got to take advantage of it at that point where the reciprocation is built, right? You have to strike while the iron's hot. When you give that place your money, you're asking in return, saying, hey, I love supporting you. It'd be great if you could support me too. I'd love to put my business cards out, or just have you, when anybody's taught anybody about real estate, about purchasing a home, refinancing a home, I would really appreciate it if you, help support me as well. So you got to do it right when you're using the service of that person or paying that business, right? We want to use that as the time to strike while the iron's hot. Now, here's where we go into really everyone is a lead. If you're really hardcore about getting business, then you're talking to every Uber driver, you're talking to every bartender, every server, like I said, your hairstylist or whatever it is. I mean, literally anyone and everyone is a potential client or will lead to a potential client, but we have to spark up those conversations. You know how many Uber drivers I've talked to who are either would love to do this or are realtors. I meet Uber drivers that are realtors all the time because real estate is a very up and down, commission only type situation, right? So there's all kinds of people in the business that you can meet if you actually talk about it and open up and speak to them about it, treat them as a lead, and, make sure that you not only make sure that they're aware that you would love to help them out, but other people. And here's where it comes back to exactly what I said before. These are very unique people for us to talk to at the Mortgage Calculator, specifically because we specialize in non-QM. These are the underserved borrowers that we serve so well. Not just these people, also realtors are huge because they either use our 1099 programs or our bank statement programs typically every time, right? Because a realtor is on a 1099, very uneven income, huge amounts here, no amounts there, no steady income to show. So they're 1099 all day with our 1099 programs, right? But these people in particular are people who Uber drivers don't necessarily know that they could qualify for a home off of just their Uber income using bank statement loans or 1099 loans. Bartenders, servers, they don't know that because they think that their tips, are not going to be counted, or it's too complicated, or because they only make less than minimum wage actually on paper, on the check. I mean, there's a million different ways that we can help these people. And these people are not only the underserved, but they're people you're talking to every single day already. Not only should you be talking to them as if they're a lead, but talking to them, understanding that even if they never become a client themselves, they can refer you clients, which happens every single day. Now, of course, leads, calls, events, all these type of things are, ways to contact leads, obviously. So, of course, we can't forget actually buying a lead campaign from somewhere else, or having us manage a campaign for you, or the leads that we give you, or using the auto dialer, going to events. Obviously, every single person you talk to is a lead, and hopefully will also point you in the direction of more leads. Now, here's one last thing I want to leave you with is anyone can become an investor. So when we're talking about everyone as a potential client, especially here at the Mortgage Calculator, anyone can become an investor, meaning we can create real estate investors. So how does that work? Well, we have the most amazing loan program, the DSCR, right? So anybody with 15 to 20% down can become a real estate investor. So you might be talking to somebody who already owns a home, that doesn't want to refinance, that doesn't need anything. Maybe they locked in a 2.9% rate. Okay, great. But are you interested in purchasing investment properties? Did you know that you could, for 15% down, no income verification, no employment verification, no DTI, not going to affect any of that. And if you just have the money down, it's going to be based off the property's income. So you can go out and start shopping for properties right now, that are in your price range if you have the 15 to 20% to put down. Most people, 99.9% of people in this country, have no idea that they could do that. And you're going to let them know that. So not only can we get the people who buy a home every 7 years, refinance their home every 3 years, we can get the investors, but not only the people who are already investing and know what's going on, but people who want to get into real estate investing. This is the most sought after industry, because it's the number one builder of wealth in this country, is investing in real estate, owning real estate, right? Now, we're not selling being a real estate investor. That's already sold. Everyone in the country is already sold on that. Everyone wants to do that, right? But they don't know that they can. Now, there's a lot of people in this country that have $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in their savings or retirement or wherever it is that they could put 20% down or 15% down on a investment property, right? So there's way more people than you even think that you can target and talk to, right? Not only dealing with their primary residence, but we can also be dealing with investment properties. And also, it's another great point to talk about when you are refinancing someone. Every time you do a cash out refinance for someone, or a large HELOC or a HE loan, you need to be presenting the option and example for them to take that cash and purchase an investment property with DSCR, right? Don't do a cash out refinance, putting $200,000 into your client's pocket and never tell them anything about the fact that they could buy a property for using a small amount of that, 15, 20% down. They can purchase an investment property. You're leaving an option there, a whole deal on the table if you're not talking to them about that, conveying it properly, conveying how simple and easy and streamlined the process is, as long as they have the down payment. That's really all that matters. People think they have to have more DTI to buy an investment property. People think they have to have enough to cover the investment property on their DTI because people are used to doing conventional investment loans, right? We don't need to worry about any of that. If you got the money, let's make you a real estate investor. It's pretty simple nowadays. You got a down payment, DSCR loan, no problem, no employment, no income, no DTI. Let's do this loan. Let's turn you into a real estate investor so you can start building wealth for yourself and your family. And let me tell you, When you put someone in that position that never was before, you have more than a client for life. You have somebody who is absolutely thankful that you exist, that you talked to them, that you told them about this, that you walked them through it, because you essentially changed their entire lives by opening up the opportunity to participate in the number one wealth builder in the country, which is investing in real estate. So the gist here is that every single person you talk to is going to either, can turn into a homeowner or is a homeowner. Once they are a homeowner, they're going to buy on average every 7 years and refi on average every 3 years. And even if they do not turn into a renter or a homeowner, they can still refer us customers. If they do turn into a renter or a homeowner, they can still refer us other customers. And we can take advantage of their sphere essentially by, making sure we have to ask for the referrals. And then, like I said here, not only are we talking about primary residences, that's not where the opportunity ends. The opportunity continues into working with investors, but also creating investors. If you create an investor out of a person who has not invested in real estate before and you turn them into a real estate investor, I'm telling you, the possibilities are endless from there. They will tell everyone they know, this amazing program, my loan officer, all I needed was 20% down, and they did it all and made it happen and didn't require any of this stuff, right? So, it's definitely something that you should be aware of and you should be trying to take advantage, because not only is everyone potentially a client, everyone is potentially a investor as well. And we want to make sure we work our sphere to take advantage of the fact that everyone is a possible lead and client. We want to make sure, this is a big one that people don't do. Support, ask for support from the people and places that you support. And when you're out and about and you're in the real world, every person you talk to is a potential client, especially people like this in the service industry, because nowadays everything's, 1099, gig economy. And so most of the people that you're out there interacting with, are part of the gig economy, or Uber drivers, or Instacart shoppers and drivers, bartenders, servers, all these type of people are in that type of economy now. And of course, we're going to always stay on top of our leads and calling people and meeting people at events and all that kind of stuff. So it looks like we got a question here. Let's go through the question. Well, let's come back to this here. Okay, is a primary residence required to buy an investment property? Not necessarily. So our DSCR programs, we have a couple of outlets that do allow them to be, to not own a home. Typically, they're not going to allow a first-time home buyer, right? So meaning that, they've had to own a residence in the past 3 years, right? So there's some programs that are going to be higher priced who may not require, but just as a general rule of thumb, you're typically going to need to, have owned a home in the last 3 years, which would make you not a first-time home buyer, which they're typically not looking to give DSCR loans out to first-time home buyers, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean they have to own a property, but to really make it happen, they probably should have owned a property sometime in the last 3 years. You're going to have a really hard time getting it done. And even if you find an outlet to get it done, it's definitely going to be much higher priced, right? Let's see here. I've seen 100% LTV on a purchase and rehab for fix and flip. Do we have that program? There's no such thing as 100% LTV for the purchase and the rehab for fix and flip. There's 100% LTV for the rehab, but you're going to have to purchase the property at, whatever, 80% or whatever it is, right? I promise you, I don't know what you've seen, but it's not what you're getting across here as far as like zero money down. Now they have a investment property and a budget for rehab and fix and flip, right? We can finance 100% of the fix, right, of the construction, but you still have to purchase the property with money down. There's no lender, there's no such thing in the world ever as $0 down for a fix and flip loan or $0 down for anything. It doesn't exist. So, a lot of people might see some advertisement or hear something or whatever, but I promise you, no one ever in the history of the world has gotten a purchase, fix and flip, rehab for $0 out of their pocket. It just doesn't happen. So, don't get caught up in some of the hype you might see out there that doesn't actually exist. And a lot of the times they're just referring to 100% for the rehab budget, right? We can fund, 80% of the purchase price or whatever, and then 100% of the rehab budget. But you're never going to have a program that is 100% LTV to purchase a property and then 100% of the fix and flip budget, right? That just doesn't exist. All right. I don't see any other questions, so I think we can wrap it up. I just want to leave everyone with go out there, make sure that at all times, every single person you're talking to, you're treating them as a lead. Not only are you treating them as a lead, you're treating them as a potential referral source. And then again, like I said, the big one is understand that you can create real estate investors out of thin air, which is a beautiful thing to do, to be able to open up that wealth building opportunity to people who never had it before. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Remember, we do this 12 p.m. Eastern time every weekday where we go through the front end of the mortgage business, talking to leads. We have a new topic for tomorrow, so I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode of the Loan Officer